Despite a production fraught with challenges, including expensive reshoots and political controversies, Captain America: Brave New World has defied expectations with a pretty good box office debut. The film generated approximately $88.5 million domestically over the weekend. Internationally, it has amassed an additional $92.4 million, bringing its global total to an impressive $192.4 million. The strong financial performance underscores the film's ability to resonate with audiences, even amidst mixed critical reviews and behind-the-scenes turmoil. It also highlights the enduring appeal of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its leading characters. So I'm going to talk about Captain America: A Brave New World today. I saw it twice, once on Friday and once on Saturday. I haven't gotten the chance to put out my reaction until now. I'll talk about my thoughts on it. And yeah, I didn't think it was as great as I've seen some other people saying. I saw a lot of flaws in it, and you know, you can think what you want, but we're going to go into a little bit of the behind-the-scenes drama with this movie, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on why I think it doesn't quite live up to the hype. So, hello, my name is Eli Hollingsworth. Welcome back to my channel, and let's get talking about Captain America: A Brave New World. I don't think I have to tell you that there's going to be a spoiler warning for this video. I'm going to talk about anything I want to that happened in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, then you should check it out. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you go see it in theaters. It's kind of like a wait for streaming one for me, in my opinion. Unfortunately, although I wanted to love it, I just didn't. But you can go check it out if you want, or I don't know. It's whatever. So the film was directed by Julius Ona, and it underwent significant reshoots following unfavorable test screenings. A technical crew member revealed that the production was fraught with difficulties, leading to extensive and costly reshoots. Despite these challenges, the director defended the process, stating that the reshoots were standard and aimed at delivering the best possible film. I mean, Vulture, who's a news outlet that always has the juiciest details. I love all of their articles. They write great stuff. The headline for one of them is, "We knew that this wasn't really going to be a great movie," from an anonymous crew member. And the article, I could link it down below, or you can go find it. It's detailing all of the behind-the-scenes drama that went on with this movie, which has been well documented, and everybody and their mom knows, if you've been keeping up with this movie, that there's been tons of reshoots. It's been reworked and reshot multiple times, and I think you can really feel that, and I think that's a major hindrance to the overall film. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about it when I was watching it. Also, apparently from this article, Harrison Ford was a bit of a problem because he joined the cast as Thaddeus Ross, replacing the late William Hurt. Reports suggest that Ford's on-set demeanor contributed to a tense working environment, with some crew members describing him as difficult to work with. These tensions reportedly added to the production's challenges. I always thought Harrison Ford was kind of a nice guy, and he just kind of acts like he's grumpy all the time. It's actually really funny to me. I love seeing him in all the media and press, but apparently that also led to some tension on set. This crew member said that it was the most tense set that he'd ever worked on. There were also a few political controversies. The inclusion of the Israeli character Sabra, played by Shira Haas, sparked debates. Critics expressed concerns over potential negative stereotypes, leading Marvel to reimagine the character as a Black Widow-trained U.S. government security advisor, distancing her from her original Mossad agent background. So there's some of the behind-the-scenes drama for this movie. There was reshoots, there was reworkings, and there was political controversies due to one of the characters from, like, the Serpent Society, which, Giancarlo Esposito plays one of the characters from the Serpent Society. He's like the serpent. So it kind of underscores his plotline in the movie, and just all of this stuff, I think, combined make for an underwhelming experience, in my opinion. It was pretty underwhelming. It was pretty anticlimactic. I mean, the movie is under 2 hours. It's an hour and 58 minutes, yeah, so like almost 2 hours, but I think you really feel that. I watched it with a friend on Friday night, and when it was over, he was like, "That's it? It's over?" I was expecting like 40 more minutes of the movie, and I was like, yeah, I kind of was too. So here's the thing. I enjoyed that Adamantium is finally in the MCU. That's a big moment. That was a big plotline in this movie. On the Celestial Island, which is following up something from Eternals, which I did like. So I'll start with my positives, and then I'll kind of get into my critiques. But I liked the cohesiveness of this movie. Not as in the sense of the storyline or like the individual plot threads that are happening, because that was not cohesive. But in the way it feels like it's tying up and tying together plot lines from the MCU that we haven't really been followed up on for a long time. Specifically, Samuel Stearns as the leader. I'm doing my Incredible Hulk video because I'm going back through my MCU retrospective. I did Iron Man, and I've recorded my Incredible Hulk video. So that should be coming out soon. I just have to finish editing it. But in that video, I talk about how Samuel Stearns is in the movie, and he gets hit on the head, and then he gets some of Bruce Banner's blood into his brain, and that's how he becomes the leader. And then that was 2008, and we've been left sitting on that until 2025, which is like 17 years. So finally, good to see that plotline followed up on. I like that we finally are getting some answers to some things. And yeah, we're following up on the Celestial from Eternal, something that's just been, I guess, sitting in the Indian Ocean for a long time. And the MCU has not addressed it until now. And we finally get follow up on that. We get follow up on, Thaddeus Ross as Thunderbolt Ross, and Betty Ross from The Incredible Hulk as well. Which that's kind of the other thing, is that this movie kind of feels like a Hulk movie, not a Captain America movie. Like he's exclusively fighting Hulk villains, but whatever. But yeah, it feels like we're actually going somewhere. It feels like we're headed somewhere because Ross wants to introduce the Avengers Initiative again. So we're kind of building towards this maybe larger looming threat, and how the world is in no order to be defended right now. Like there's no kind of organized team or security measures or superheroes that are going to protect the Earth from any kind of big threat that comes, when we know one is coming, and that's Doctor Doom and Secret Wars. So I liked that aspect of it. The cohesiveness of the MCU kind of felt like old MCU days where we were connected with things, and it felt like the pieces were fitting together into this larger puzzle that wasn't just scatterbrained and like hard to follow, and like we can't tell what's going on like the MCU has been pretty much since Endgame. I did enjoy some of the fight sequences. Some of the action sequences were entertaining. I mean, it looks good, it looks polished. The reported budget is like $100 million, but it seems like it might be reportedly be maybe closer to 300 million with all the reshoots. But I mean, it looks polished, it looks good, it looks like it should. Looks like a big budget blockbuster. Can't really complain about that. I mean, the VFX look pretty good, except for when you can tell that there's reshoots, but I'll talk about that later. I liked the emotional depth that Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie brought to this movie. I really enjoyed Harrison Ford particularly, I think, because, well, he's just a great actor. Like, I don't think I could ever bring myself to dunk on Harrison Ford just because he's one of the greatest of all time. He's a veteran. He's been around in this business for a long time. And I think he's just a great actor. Like he nails every scene. And the kind of more emotional storyline they gave Ross in this movie, where he's trying to make changes and he's trying to make up for his past mistakes and reconcile his relationship with Betty, I thought was great, and it worked for me. I don't think it worked as well as it could have, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I really enjoyed the idea, at least, of it. And Harrison Ford, his acting is really great. I think specifically in the scene with Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie when they're in the military ship and they're about to fire on the Indian Ocean, and they're at the Indian Ocean, and Sam is talking to Ross and asking why Samuel Stearns has his data. Harrison Ford, his acting in that scene particularly, I think, was a really strong moment of the film. One of the best moments, I think, that really got, I felt it, at least. I really did feel that moment when he's telling him about how he was dying and how he recruited Samuel Stearns to keep him alive, essentially. I really did enjoy that scene, and both of their performances were very good in it. Now, the leader himself as a villain feels kind of like non-existent. Like, he's there, but he's not really there. And, the leader, like, his whole shtick is that his brain can calculate all of the potential outcomes of what's going to happen in, like, the near future or something. And, like, in this movie, literally every one of them is wrong. Like, he gets, like, 2 things right. So his whole, like, shtick is not even right. Like, he gets stuff wrong all the time. That's how the plot of the movie happens. So, I mean, I didn't really like that. Like, I love the leader as a villain, and the actor is a great actor. He's been in a lot of things, and I think he did a good job in his performance as the leader. But also, there was that leaked character design for the leader that I thought was much better even than the one that we got. I didn't like this design as much as that. Like, that one was much more comic accurate, and it looks better. But there's a lot of issues that I have with the movie that are just basically boiled down to, it looks like a freaking chopped up mess. Like, you can tell for majority of the film, scenes are shortened or changed, or this is not how they were originally supposed to be, or there's tons of, like, ADR, which is additional dialogue recording. Like, it seems very condensed. It seems like a Frankenstein kind of mishmashed, not glaringly obvious, but if you're looking for it, you'll definitely find it. And since I had known about the behind-the-scenes drama, that was a big concern going into the movie, is this going to feel like it's kind of choppy and it doesn't flow well and it's kind of disjointed, and that's kind of the experience that I got. I didn't enjoy a lot of the different ways that scenes played out, and like the fight at Celestial Island, which was one of the coolest parts of the movie, but still wasn't super duper cool. Like, was it one of the coolest things I've ever seen? That kind of felt like a midway through the movie battle. That felt like it should have been halfway through, and then we'd kind of get a little more before we jump into the finale and the third act. But it seems like it was pretty much immediately after that we had the scene with Bucky, and then we had the scene with Ross and Betty, and then we just jumped into the final battle. That was pretty much it. It seemed like there was maybe a good chunk there that was cut out. Or, I mean, there's been rumors behind the scenes that Amadeus Cho was going to be in the movie and that they filmed scenes with Amadeus Cho. Not even rumors. This is pretty much confirmed. And then he just didn't do well in test screening, so they cut that out. The person who Sam gave the pills to check them out and to research them to see what was going on with them was Amadeus Cho. So instead, we just get his little military buddy who's just calling some random person about the pills, and it's just like kind of vague. And getting research on them. And it's just, there's parts like that. It's just stuff like that just feels like there was supposed to be something more, but it's missing. And it kind of, I get that feeling through a lot of the movie. Also, the final battle with Hulk was pretty pitiful, in my opinion. I did not enjoy that at all. I mean, it lasted for a total of like 5 minutes. And yeah, I mean, Sam should not be anywhere near able to beat a Hulk since he's just a regular dude. It's Thunderbolt Ross, and he's Fire Hulk. And so, yeah, he shouldn't be able to beat him in any capacity. Even though he was stabbing him and, like, wounding Hulk, that felt like the least plausible part of the movie. Yes, the movie where the guy has mechanical wings and a robot drone that does what he wants, and they're fighting by a giant celestial island. Yes, that movie, that was the most unrealistic part, was that he wounded a Hulk. Yeah, because the Hulk is insanely powerful. And... so yeah, of course he can't beat the Hulk, but the fact that even the way that he calms him down just felt rushed. I mean, the final battle lasted for a total of 5 minutes. It was over before I even knew it had begun. And it also was like a weird like break in the middle of it. Like Sam and Hulk are fighting by the cherry blossoms, which was a like emotional anchor that had been mentioned like a total of 3 times in the movie. And then all of a sudden we just take a little break. Like they hit each other and then they're knocked out for a decent bit of time because it's midday when they're fighting, and then when they wake up it's sunset. So they were both knocked out for a few hours, and they both wake up at the same time, and then Sam just calms Thunderbolt Ross down. That just felt really weird. That was a weird way to do that battle. It was the main selling point of the movie. It was in all the trailers was that Red Hulk was going to be in it, and basically all the footage you see in the trailers is the amount that he's in the movie. It was really underwhelming. And even in the scene where Sam is calming him down, you can see that they're on this, what looks like a real set or a real environment with the sunset. And then it cuts to him talking to him to calm him down. And it looks different. It looks clearly like it's on a green screen and that it was reshot. That's just really stuck out to me as jarring. And then it resumes back to the other scene. Like that was definitely a reshoot that was just, they just shoved in there. To kind of cobble together this kind of a mess of a movie. I liked, Torres as Falcon. He's funny enough. But most of the jokes in this movie, I think, didn't land. I don't think it was as heavy on the humor as some of the pitfalls of the other Marvel movies have been, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where just like any kind of serious moment is undercut by a joke. Like I said, the scene between Falcon and Thunderbolt Ross, where they're in the submarine and Thunderbolt Ross is telling him about how he hired Samuel Stearns to make these pills for him. That scene was great, and it really was one of the strongest points of the movie. But any of the jokes that were in the movie, I just didn't really care for at all. Like, usually a Marvel movie I can get behind, and I'm not a snob, okay? I don't need the movie to be exceptionally amazing. I love cartoons. I love animated movies. I'm not one of those people, but I do expect at least a certain level of good from Marvel movies, especially considering the phases 1 through 3, like, which were all pretty much bangers, like every movie of the first 20. And this one, it just doesn't quite live up to that. And also the plot is eerily similar to The Winter Soldier at the beginning, with a kind of retrieval of something, and then the two characters going to a bunker and finding out the main villain's plan, and then the villain escapes, and then even something from Civil War, or kind of Nick Fury in Winter Soldier, but Rhodey in Civil War, which is then the main character's friend gets injured, and then they're with him at the hospital, and then they're going into the final battle as this conspiracy against the government, and it's like, it just felt kind of, sometimes there was beat for beat Winter Soldier, and not as good. The conspiracy wasn't as interesting to me. The whole Samuel Stearns thing, him wanting revenge on Ross, sometimes it was a little convoluted and hard to follow. I got it more on the second time viewing, but it was kind of hard to think about what is his plan and what is he trying to get out of this. And then, I mean, he just disappears. He turns himself in, and then immediately just they're getting the news reports of him saying that he turns himself in, which how quickly did that happen? And it's just, it feels disjointed. It feels like there's something missing. Now, if you didn't know all the behind-the-scenes drama, and if you're not thinking about it for most of the movie or for any of the movie, then probably, yeah, it is enjoyable enough. I would say it's mid. I just say it's mid. It's okay. It's average. It's nothing special. It's something that we haven't seen in the MCU before. Doesn't feel particularly brave or new. So it's fine, you know. And anyone who does enjoy it, I'm just stating my opinion, right? I wasn't particularly impressed by it. That's okay. If you did like it, I don't care. You can like it. You can enjoy it. I enjoyed parts of it. I think it had moments that were good, and it had parts that moved me, like the Thunderbolt Ross storyline. I really did believe in that storyline, but it felt like there was stuff cut out of it. I mean, there was a scene that was filmed with Betty Ross that we saw that was separate, where she was at like a funeral or a graveyard. That was weird. And Sam had a sling on his arm, so this was definitely after the final battle. So that was weird. Where was that? They changed Betty Ross's introduction in the movie. Was that where she was supposed to see Ross, or where she was supposed to meet Sam, or what? Was Ross originally supposed to die in the final battle? I don't know. It's frustrating because I would want it to be good, and I could see in this movie where there would be a better version of it at some point down the line. Sometime previously, maybe there was a version that was really, really good. But it's just they tweaked it and they changed it and they moved it around and they cut stuff out, and it just kind of, you really feel that. I really felt it. It was so obvious to me when I was watching it. I don't know if other people care about that because I've seen plenty of positive thoughts on it. But even Giancarlo Esposito, who's one of the greatest actors of our time, Breaking Bad, incredible. He's one of the greatest. I mean, he's just such a lame his little character Serpent, who was added completely in reshoots, I believe, is just there. He doesn't do much. He's not really an imposing threat or an interesting character. But just the emphasis on Isaiah Bradley throughout the entire movie, I just didn't really care for him. I just wasn't invested enough in his character, and they didn't make me care enough about him or his relationship with Sam, even, to where I was just on the edge of my seat on what's going to happen to Isaiah Bradley the whole time. And it felt kind of like there was so much emphasis on it. And I was just like, I feel like there's more important things happening than Isaiah Bradley right now. Not to say that I dislike the character or anything like that. Like, he's fine, but he just wasn't super interesting to me, and he wasn't someone that felt like he earned the amount of emphasis that we're putting on him the entire movie, that he's just in such danger and we just need to care about him so much. Like, I just didn't see it. I saw it twice, man, and there's just a lot of frustration that comes with this movie to me, and a lot of glaring issues that I see that I just can't get behind it. Like, I can't say that it's even a good movie. It's okay at best. But kind of just messy at worst, and even bad. You know, it didn't resonate with me. And the post-credit scene is one of the stupidest post-credit scenes I think I've ever seen. So Sam goes to, it's almost like Morbius level post-credit scene. I just didn't enjoy it. When I saw it, I was like, why did I stay for this? This was a waste of my time. All it is Sam going to Samuel Stearns, the leader, and this is how the dialogue exchange goes in this scene. It feels Morbius level to me. So the leader says, "You want to know something funny?" Sam says, "I don't want to hear any more of your jokes. After what you've done to the leaders of the world, I don't think we have the same sense of humor." And then the leader says, "Your world is in danger. You think you're the only one." And it's just this shot of Sam looking mildly interested as he's looking at the leader. I don't even think they filmed this in the same room. We, as the audience, already know about the multiverse. We've known about the multiverse for years now. We know that it's coming. We know that everything's going on. So it's not like it was giving any new information to us, the leader being really menacing about how he knows the other worlds are out there in the multiverse. I know exactly what it's referencing. It's referencing Secret Wars because all the planets have to duke it out to see which one gets to be the main one that stays. Sure. Obviously, anyone and their mom can understand what the scene is supposed to be doing, but it feels pointless to me because we already know about Secret Wars. And yeah, Sam doesn't know about Secret Wars, but we've already teased Secret Wars before. We already know that it's coming, and I don't care if it's like other post-credit scenes have done that before. And yeah, at this point, we need to be generating a lot more interest into Secret Wars, and it's much more impending because it happens next year. It's a year away. We need to be getting much more intense into it than just the leader vaguely hinting at it to Sam in a 30-second scene that looks like it was filmed in someone's basement. So here's what I think. It's fine. It gets to the plate. It gets to the starting line. It meets the bare minimum for what it should be. But with all the behind-the-scenes drama, with all the changes and reshoots that were done to this thing, I think you look at the finished product, or I look at the finished product, and I say there's at least a better version of this movie that exists, a much better version of this movie that exists. And it's disappointing, and it is underwhelming, and it's anticlimactic. It doesn't really end on any poignant notes that make you wonder about the future of the MCU or make you recontextualize what you've already seen. It feels cobbled together. It feels reshot. It feels very Frankenstein-y, and it doesn't fully, reach that level that the previous 3 Captain America films did or any of the films in Phase 1. So it was disappointing. I wanted to love it. I wanted to walk out of it and be like, wow, it felt all those reshoots were completely necessary, and it made for an experience that really makes sense, and it was cohesive, but I can't unfortunately say that. It feels kind of like old MCU in the way that we're tying things together and moving things along, but it doesn't necessarily. It feels familiar and yet not as good as the things it's trying to copy, and doesn't really kind of push the MCU in any new ways that we haven't already seen before. The action sequences, they're okay. They're good. They're average. They're fine. They're not anything particularly amazing, and the emotional beats, although they do work sometimes, don't exactly pay off in the most resonant way, and in a way that feels like this was the original plan, and that there was a clear, distinct vision from a director that was wanting to make this something special. Those are my final thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Did you enjoy it? And if you did enjoy it, great. I don't mind. Yeah, everybody is free to have their own opinions. So this is just mine. So let me know what you think. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from the community, and I love to talk with you guys. So yes, comment down below. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you do that, obviously. And I'm going to come out with my Incredible Hulk video soon, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.